Hi, friends. Thanks for joining me. My name is Pat Buchanan, and I am a transformational life coach certified by the Brave Thinking Institute. I am the author of Relieve Your Pain, your holistic self-care guidebook to hurt less and love more. And I'm a speaker. I'm also a retired athletic trainer. And if you've been paying attention at all or stepped outside in most parts of the United States and in many other places around the world, it's hot. It is just hot. So I got on some lightweight gear, and I want to share with you uh, my 10 hot tips for a cool summer. So I want you to stay safe as you're enjoying a summer that you are designing to be one that you will love and remember. So let me share my screen and clear my throat. Bear with me one moment. And I'm going to stop the screen share just a moment because I ran into this issue before. I want to make sure that I got this going correctly. I do. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. All right. So again, 10 hot tips for a super summer. First, I'm going to get this one out, out of the way because it's the most important. It's not like getting it out of the way. It's like have this one be your priority. This is why you are doing everything. One reason you are doing everything else. The primary reason for you may be you want to have summer fun. I get it, but I want you to do it safely. So I want you to be paying attention to how you're feeling and to be aware of heat-related health issues, whether you are physically active for your work or for your play, your sports endeavors, or whether you're just trying to get by day to day through your activities of daily living during this hot weather where it's feeling, again, it's like it's June and it is feeling like August. Okay. Now these three levels of heat illness, uh, keep in mind, these are not sequential. You can have C. I hope you never have C, but you can have C without experiencing A or B. You can have B without experiencing A. Got it? They're not sequential. They're listed in levels of urgency for getting care. All right. So the first level is your muscle cramping. It can happen during activity or at rest. Okay. It's can be an indication that you're not getting in enough fluids, you're not getting in enough electrolytes, or it could be just an indication that your muscles are struggling because they're not used to doing the activities that you're doing. Right. So keep in mind, you want to build up your activity level to accommodate what you're asking yourself to do. And you want to be sure you're getting in enough fluids and electrolytes. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit here. The second one is exhaustion. And this can show up as lightheadedness, weakness, fatigue, nausea. It can creep up on you. You just feel tired. I'll tell you a little story about a time when I experienced heat exhaustion later on through our tips here. And third, and this is the critical one, heat stroke. This one is life-threatening. It can happen during exercise. It doesn't have to be warm or hot, okay? Those of you that are, have been involved in either fans of or participants in endurance races like marathons or longer have to be aware of the risk of this. But it can also happen for people just trying to get by in this hot weather. So you don't have to be physically active. You could just be trying to make it through the day, okay? So be aware. The heat stroke indications are twofold. Your thinking, your cognitive function is messed up, okay? You're not thinking clearly, you're confused, you're not really able to control your bodily functions like you normally would, and your core temperature is elevated, right? And we're focusing on core temperature, not the other forms of taking monitoring one's temperature, like became so common after the COVID epidemic, to do these uh, uh, um, temperatures where they're just taking a reading off of your forehead. Needs to be a core temperature, which when the situation necessitates it, and I hope it never does for you, but that means taking a rectal core temperature. Okay, that's your most accurate one. So 2 through 10 are designed to keep you away from number 1. All right, so coming up, number 2. Hit the right key there. There we go. Acclimate. You got to give yourself several days to a couple of weeks to adjust to the increases that are happening in temperature, humidity, and possibly altitude. So this is especially important if you've been spending a lot of your time indoors in controlled temperature climate, controlled temperature situations where you're in a lot of air conditioning, or if you're beginning or increasing your activity level and spending more time outdoors. You got to give yourself time to adjust. Slowly increase your exposure, the duration that you're out in the heat and the humidity. And if you find yourself going on, maybe it's for vacation or work or some other related travel where you're going from a lower elevation to a higher elevation, that requires acclimation period as well. Okay, so give yourself time to adjust, and as you're adjusting, back off on the intensity and the duration of your activity. Give yourself time to get used to the situations, especially if you're not as fit or healthy. You need to give more attention to this. Number 3. Oh, before number 3, the weather app on your phone is a great tool to help you make informed decisions about your activity. You can learn a lot more information besides just how hot and humid it is. Okay? Although that's important information, there's more to be learned. And it comes in handy with number 3. Adjusting your activity. So you're going to want to alter one or more of these variables as you acclimate and whenever the conditions get more challenging. So the time of day. Move your activity earlier or later in the day where it's not so hot. Okay. Intensity. Slow your roll. It'll be all right. If you're used to, if you're used to being out there, it's okay. Your health and safety, living to continue another day, is a priority. So back off, slow it down. You may need to reduce the duration, shorten the length of your exercise, play, or work. And also build in more breaks. Take more frequent breaks. Okay. You could be a package handler in FedEx or UPS or one of these other warehouses where there's not a lot of air conditioning and you're working hard and you need to get in those breaks. You could be, it can be a challenge, I understand, but safety first, right? If you're exercising of your own free will, give yourself more breaks. If you outdoors, if you're a landscaper, if you're working, if you do construction work, give yourself more breaks, right? And seek a location where you can have more shade if it's possible, if it's able for you, if you're able to move your activity indoors into an air-conditioned environment, do that. There's already been a few days in the past 2 weeks where I have moved my activities indoors to my local Y instead of doing my usual outdoor walking and running. Number 4, keep aware of the sun and the UV index. This is sort of a 2-for-1 special. Monitor this. Use sunscreen and C3A. And I'm sorry, I'm getting this for my throat here. Let me clear my throat when I come back. So you can, one way to monitor, to be friends with the sun is to change the time of day. So you're wanting to pay attention to the sun and the UV index for 2 reasons. You want to protect your skin and your eyes. Now, if you're younger than I am, this might not be something you really pay attention to unless you have a history of skin cancer or cataracts in your family. And if you do, you hopefully know that you need to protect yourself from the sun as much as possible. So using that sunscreen, I didn't mention sunglasses, but sunglasses are important for protecting your eyes. And then also you're wanting to adjust for solar heating, which in the solar heating is great in the winter. We welcome it. In the summer, we're trying to minimize it at times. And so we want to avoid that radiation, that heat, that radiant heat that comes from the sun. So as this image here shows you the at the time of when I did the screen capture, the UV index was 8, which is very high. And when it gets up to around 10 or 11, as it was in the middle of the day around 12, you want to avoid that time if at all possible. So on this day, I actually moved my walking and running till after 6 p.m. Number 5. Fluids. I'm talking about the non-diuretic kind. So I'm looking at you, beer and other alcoholic drinks. I know it can be kind of a thing for people who do a lot of road races and stuff. They finish their race and then they hit the beer tent. Okay, but you need to be putting things into your body that will replenish your fluid levels and stay with you long enough to do their job and not have an effect where they cause you to be peeing out more fluids than you already are. You're trying to replenish your fluids and not add to any loss of fluids. Okay, so you also want to be mindful of the temperature of the fluids you're taking in. A cool, cold drink that, it tastes cool and cold for you is good. Watch out for the brain freeze cold. Then your body's taking energy, expending energy to warm up that fluid. So cool, not too cold. And depending upon the duration of your exercise and the conditions, you're going to want to be taking in fluids before your activity, during your activity, and after your activity. And thirst can guide you. It's not necessarily adequate to fully rehydrate you, to make sure you're getting the full amount of water. We'll talk more about some other things you can do, but do take in fluids. You can take in small amounts of fluids frequently instead of waiting to, if you will, tank up. All right. And now number 6, monitor your urine. That means, yes, look at the color of your urine. Become familiar with what is usual for you. So what's your usual color? And color can fluctuate depending upon our activities and what we're eating. But be aware of the color of your urine. Be in tune with how frequently you tend to urinate, and be aware of how much you tend to urinate. So this is where the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears comes in handy. All right. So if you remember this story, Goldilocks kind of helps herself into the Three Bears house and starts sampling everything around their house. The porridge. Oh, this one's too hot. This one's too cold. This one's just right. Okay, you're looking for just right, the just right color. In this case, the just right color is that lemonade light yellow color, clear lemonade, light yellow in color. Okay, clear meaning, and there's no not cloudy. Okay, if it's clear or colorless, okay. Be careful. You might be getting in too much fluids, especially if that no color urine is happening frequently throughout the day. You want the right amount of fluid, not too much and not too little. All right. The too much can cause you problems as well as not getting in enough. Okay. And if your urine is a dark color, honey colored or darker, you be careful because you're probably needing to get more fluid in you. All right. Also be aware of the frequency. If you find that you're going notably less often than usual, you need to drink more. And if you find that the volume of your urine is less than your usual, see 6B, you need to drink more. Okay. And number 7, monitor your weight. I'm not talking about weighing yourself to see if are losing fat or gaining fat. Okay, we're talking about monitoring for fluid loss. So ideally, monitor your weight every day. I have a routine where I weigh myself each morning. I get up, I use the toilet, and then I weigh myself. Okay. This becomes particularly important if you have either for work or for play, your chosen outdoor activities requires a more intense period of activity um, and a longer duration. So if you're looking at more than an hour or so for your activity, you might find it helpful to you during these intense periods of heat and humidity to be weighing yourself before activity and then after. And it's not unusual, even if you're doing a good job of taking in fluids before and during your activity, it's not unusual to be losing a couple pounds or more, depending upon your size and your fitness level, right? But what you want to be aware of is that you're regaining that fluid loss by the next day. So you want to avoid the last item here, where you have a sneaky cumulative dehydration that can lead to a heat-related illness. Okay. Got it? Keep up with your fluids, monitor their weight. Number 8, get appropriate nutrition. You may be eating differently in the summer because of the heat, so be sure you get your macronutrients, the right amount and balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for your age, gender, health, activity level, etc. Okay. And also the appropriate amount of micronutrients, notably the electrolytes or salts. Okay. So the more you sweat, and especially during periods when you're acclimating to the increased heat and humidity, the more salts you're losing along with the water. You know, if you've ever, been licking your face, or, if you should taste your sweat, it's okay. It may seem, it's not that gross. Just taste your sweat, sample, how salty is it? If it's really salty, you're losing a lot. So you want to replace it. Now, some of us need to be really careful about how much salt we're taking in. So I'm not saying you need to go overboard on here. Just be aware that you need to be replacing what you're losing. All right. So that might it might just mean okay, so it's time to switch to an electrolyte drink of your choice. It might be adding a little bit more salt to your food, without not getting carried away, but enjoying a little bit more salt, not too much, not too little, just right for you. Number 9, you want to sleep well to recover and restore. And that means getting enough hours for you. For me, I can get by on 7, 8 is better. Others might do better with 9 hours or so. The younger ones, your teenagers, those of you that are heavily engaged, who do heavy engagement with your work, physical work or sports, might need more towards the 9, 10 hours. Okay. So enough hours for you, and it needs to be quality sleep. Okay. Solid sleep without many interruptions, okay, to your sleep. And part of making sure you get that quality sleep is that you have a cool environment. If you have access to air conditioning, where you can get it down in that low 70 range, around 70, 72, whatever feels right for you, great. Excuse me. If you don't have the AC, then let's get the fans going. You might even think about converting that hot water bottle you might be using in the winter to keep your feet warm to an ice water bottle to help you cool down. So the sleep is important because of all the clearing of waste products that happen in your brain, and all the components of your brain that happens overnight. It's where we, if you will, consolidate the things we're learning, and it helps the function of all the various, the many, the multitude, the infinite number of things that the brain is doing for us, including regulating our body temperature. So make sure you get good sleep. And number 10, be aware of cooling dynamics and the temperature gradient between the internal and the external environment. So the temperature within you at your core, okay, and the external environment. Now, the temperature that a lot of us got used to, especially with COVID, where they run the little sensor over your forehead and get a quick read from that, that's going to be lower than your true core temperature. So don't be fooled if you check your forehead temperature and it seems like, well, it's not so bad. It's like 99. Well, it might be 99 up here, but it might be 101 inside you. So be alert to that. And sorry if it sounds gross, but the most accurate way to get your core temperature is with a rectal thermometer. I hope you never need to have that done, but just be aware. Okay, so now particularly be aware of these cooling dynamics as that gradient gets smaller between the internal and the external, or when the external environment is exceeding the internal environment. So if you're in an environment where the temperature is like 99, 100, over 100 degrees, you are going to be struggling to stay cool because it's hotter on the outside than it is on the inside. And these 4 methods of cooling are not going to be as effective, right? So what are they? First, evaporation of sweat, okay? This happens easier and perhaps without appreciating that it's happening when the humidity is lower. So here's that story I wanted to tell you. Some years ago, after I graduated high school and I had gone through the challenging and wonderful experience of going through North Carolina Outward Bound School, I found myself being the fittest I had been in my young life. And soon after that, my family went out west for vacation, and we stopped. One of our stops was the Grand Canyon, and I went on a hike partway down from the rim down one level, and was on my way back up. And I'm like, God, I am so tired. How can I be so tired? And I just found a place where there's some shade, and I sat there for quite a while. And I was like, I can't believe how tired I am. It's not like, it wasn't this challenging. I had just been through Outward Bound in the mountains of North Carolina, and here I am, and it's like, why is this so hard? I made it back up by the grace of God or whatever, I made it back up safely and carried on with the rest of our trip. And it was some years later, after I'd gone through my education as an athletic trainer and learned about heat illnesses, that I was like, dang, I was in heat exhaustion. I didn't realize it because the humidity was so low in the Grand Canyon compared to the mountains of North Carolina. I was sweating, and sweat was evaporating so quickly, I didn't realize how much I had been sweating. Okay, so I had lost a lot more fluid than I was aware of. So be mindful of that. There's the sweat you can see and feel on you, and then there's the sweat that can evaporate before you even know you've sweated it out. They're both going to help cool you, but you need to be aware of the dehydration that can result from that evaporation. Another way we can cool ourselves is through conduction between you and the surface that you're on. So you know this, if you ever sit down on a hot bleachers or your hot car seat, okay, that's heat that's coming into you. You want to be, when you can, be on surfaces where your body heat is going out into the surface that you're sitting on. A third way we cool ourselves is with convection. I gotta love a cool breeze. It makes such a big difference when it's 88 degrees outside and there's a breeze versus 88 degrees and there's the air is still. All right. Love the convection. And the fourth one is radiation, which brings us back to 4B, which was respect the sun. Okay, so when that sun is overhead and shining brightly, it's through that radiation is going to be conducting that solar heating into our body. So avoid that when we can. And you can also do things to help reflect the sun's radiating heat from the sun by wearing lighter colored clothes. All right. As opposed to, putting on those light colors, well, the whites and the light colors, as opposed to those darker colors, those blacks. So blacks and dark navy and those navies and things like that. So lighter color clothing, clothing that will evaporate more quickly, like the t-shirt that I've got on. Okay, so taking advantage of being aware of the evaporation, the conduction, convection, and radiation. So following all these tips, 2 through 10, I hope are going to keep you away from number 1. All right, so I hope these are helpful to you to help you enjoy your summer. And let's keep in touch. I've got several ways here. I appreciate it if you would, if you enjoy this YouTube video, to give me a like, to subscribe. I've got a free gift available for you if you're interested, by going to my website at hurtlesslovemore.com. And my book, Relieve Your Pain, is available on Amazon. Appreciate it if you check it out. And if you decide to purchase it, that'd be awesome. Appreciate it if you leave a review. Thank you so much. Have a great summer. Make it one that you truly love. Bye for now.